Hey, what is going on, everyone? This is Greg, your co-host to the Grilling to Get Away podcast. Welcome back. I am glad you are here. This week, I talk with my new friend, Mike Patten. Mike and I have connected over Instagram for the past few years, and he puts out some really awesome content out there on Instagram. And I was really excited to talk to him about St. Louis style ribs. Now, Mike has his go-to methods and things like that, but I saw a recent post he put out there. So I wanted to pick his brain a little bit about how he goes about doing his St. Louis style ribs. And then we also get into a pork shoulder recipe that he tried, and actually very interesting how he does it, keeps the skin on. So I learned a lot too from this episode, and it was great having Mike on. If you want to follow him, go ahead and go to the show notes. And I put his profile there, so you can go find him on Instagram. Go give him a follow. He puts out a lot of great content, a lot of great recipes and tips out there from Mike. So go ahead and give him a follow. And if you find this episode valuable, go out and please give us a review, share it with your friends. That's the way that we can continue to grow the podcast. But appreciate that you're back. And here we go. Me and Mike are talking St. Louis style ribs.
Oftentimes, life is demanding, stressful, and just won't stop. When needing to take a break, we like to light up the charcoal and crack open a cold one. The Grilling to Get Away podcast is an ongoing conversation about all things barbecue and grilling, from our backyard to yours. So if you sometimes don't know what the heck you're doing, if you like to learn, and if you don't take yourself too seriously, you're in the right spot.
Hey, what is going on, everyone? This is Greg, your co-host to the Grilling to Get Away podcast, and I am here with my buddy, Mike. Mike, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, we've been connected a little bit over Instagram, and, I love seeing what you're doing out there. But why don't you tell the listeners and the watchers, the people watching that, like a little bit more about your background, about who you are, how long you've been, barbecuing and grilling.
Sure. Well, my name's Mike Patten. I'm a mechanic by trade. And right now I do a mobile performance tuning with cars, but barbecue is my passion. I've always loved it. And actually I started from a guy from Wisconsin when I lived out in Minnesota for about 15 years, and I worked at
really?
Hudson Pontiac. Yeah. Hudson Pontiac in Hudson, Wisconsin. And his name was Clyde Mayfield, and he used to bring stuff that smelled so damn good. And I remember my dad doing grilling when I was younger, just burgers and dogs and stuff, nothing big, but I always remember that taste. And he brought in some chicken that was out of this world, and when I tasted it, it brought back all those memories of being on the grill and everything. And I thought, you know what, hell, I'm going home, I'm buying a grill. So I did that, started with a little charcoal kettle grill, and shit, that was like 18 years ago now. And I ruined a lot of meat to try to figure stuff out. A lot of dry stuff came right in the trash sometimes. But then I moved up to a char griller, started using hardwood lump charcoal. Then I started using just nothing but fruit woods in that grill as well. But after over the years, started doing other stuff and taking risks and having a blast with it. So now I'm working with a Rectech grill. It's a wood pellet grill. Sure. And I absolutely love it. It's awesome. It's kind of like a set it and forget it type thing, and the taste is unparalleled. I love it. So,
yeah, so you started on the charcoal, and then you went up to a char griller, it sounds like, and then you kind of experimented some more, and then you got into the pellet. So do you just have the pellet right now, or do you have multiple?
I got the pellet grill now. I also have a Kingsford charcoal barrel smoker as well, and then the gas grill for backups, of course. Gotta have it. Of course,
yeah. Yeah. Do you remember what your first cook was on your Rectech?
Oh boy, the first cook on the Rectech was pizza. It was, believe it or not. Yeah. I saw a lot of pictures and a lot of advertisements with the Rectech with people doing pizza, and I had to try it, and it was awesome. It came out great. But the next one was some country style ribs, just some basic stuff to get the feel of it, because it is a different kind of grill. It's different. I'm used to stoking it every 30 minutes or checking it, and it's easy to just set the temp and just let it go and do its thing. And I don't want to keep plugging Rectech, but they got to be the best damn smoker grill out there that I've ever tried. So
yeah, I mean, I've heard that, being in this kind of environment, I get to see a lot of different grills, and the Rectech,
community is strong and very vocal about how good that product is.
It is. It's awesome.
Well,
no need
that's
to
great.
spray or anything. No spritzing, no spraying. It comes out juicy always. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, it's good. Well, thanks for sharing that. And I've been following you on Instagram for a while now. So,
Awesome.
what's your handle is Secondhand Smoke RI? Is that because of Rhode
barbecue?
Island?
So yeah, barbecue Rhode Island. So it'd be Secondhand Smoke BBQ RI. Yeah, and that is for Rhode Island. Yep.
Yeah, and we'll put that in the show notes so people can find you and
awesome.
get inspiration just like me. And I saw that you just within the last day, you did some St. Louis style ribs.
Yeah.
And, ribs is one of those things that you have to practice a little bit. And if somebody's listening, they haven't tried it before, I'd love to walk through that process with you because they looked amazing when I saw them on your pictures. So why don't you take me through that? Is St. Louis style like your preferred cut of ribs, or is that just something like you found like at the local butcher that was on sale?
Yeah, I always shoot for the St. Louis style. They're my favorite cut. They seem to have the most meat. I like the way that they're shaped. A lot of people's go-to ribs are baby backs, but it seems like all the good stuff's cut off on a baby back for me. Sure. So I like it. So either just a normal rack that's untrimmed, I like doing that too, or the St. Louis is definitely my go-to. I'd love it. It's awesome.
Yeah. Do you trim or do you just leave it?
I trim a little bit. Of course, I get rid of the silver skin that's underneath, and I'll trim a little bit of fat off if it's got some big fat chunks on it. But I tend to leave everything the way that it is, even that big bone that's up on the corner. Some people trim that off too to make it look a little better, but there's a lot of good meat there, so I like to leave it.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of meat there. So you're not trying to make it look pretty. You're going more for substance there.
Exactly.
You're taking the membrane off the back and maybe trimming some fat and trimming a little bit of meat off there, but for the most part, you're keeping it intact.
I try to, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, then let's talk through your process then. So you got it all, cut up however you want to do it. What's your next step after that?
Adding the Burn Pit BBQ guys rub. Believe it or not, I love doing a combination. I love the ground pounder and I love the pop smoke and I love them together. So I do a lot of that together. So I'll usually use the ground pounder first, just a little bit, just a nice dusting of it, and then put the pop smoke on top, and it's just phenomenal. I love it. So then they go on the Rectech for about 225 for about 5.5 to 6 hours. I usually take the tongs out there and do the bend test. If they just start to break, I'm going to pull them.
Okay.
Sometimes if I do it at the same amount of time, they'll break a little bit more than what I want, but they still come out just great.
Okay. So you got, do you do a binder at all? Are you using mustard? Are you using olive oil? Anything on there? Or you just
I use olive oil as a binder. So I've tried it with the mustard. I've tried all different kinds of stuff. I love trying new stuff. I love different methods. So I'm constantly on Instagram or Facebook and checking out other people's, just watching their videos to see what they do. But I like it.
Yeah. I've been using olive oil quite a bit too. And I find that, for me, it just works well. But that's awesome. So you said then you get your Rectech up to temperature. What type of pellets or what type of flavors are you using when you're doing your ribs?
Right now, I'm running cherry pellets.
Cherry
Pit Boss pellets. Yeah, I love them. They're great.
Okay. Have you found that? Now you say Pit Boss. Is there a certain kind that you usually use that you found have worked better for you?
Well, the Rectech pellets are really, really good. But the shipping and getting them here is a different story. So I like to be able to go down to the local hardware store or to the Lowe's, and they carry all the Pit Boss products, and they're pretty reasonably priced, and they taste great. So I'm sticking with those. Yeah.
So you're doing what you can find at the local places to avoid shipping and stuff. That makes sense. I get that.
Yeah.
And you're putting them on. You said 250, about 250 or
225. 225. The go-to, for me.
And from what I gather from what you said before, no spritzing, no wrapping, just straight, 225.
Straight. Yep, 225, 5.5 hours. Don't open it, don't look at it, don't spritz, don't mop, nothing. And they come out. I mean, you've seen the video. I can squeeze that thing. I was cutting them on the cutting board, and they're squirting juice out everywhere. I love it.
Yeah. So do you
are you monitoring the internal temp with like some sort of thermometer, or like does it like I'm
No.
not okay. So
Yeah,
it's just
I
you
will with beef ribs because they're a little
okay.
bit thicker and I want to know where they're at
Yeah.
because they're treated just a little bit differently, but I'm
Mhm.
strictly on time with that. I've noticed like between 5 and 6 hours. So I'll check it at about just after 5 hours and then maybe let it
Okay.
go for another 45 minutes or an hour. If it's not doing the bend test, if it's not right where I want it, that's what I do.
And so it's down and dirty for you, Mike. It sounds like you're putting a little olive oil, you're putting the rub on,
Yeah,
225, 5 to 6 hours, no checking, no touching,
nothing.
until about that 5 hour mark, and then for the most part, it sounds like you've got it down.
Yeah, I love it. They're coming out great. I get great feedback. So I must be
Yeah,
doing something right.
yeah. And how many terrible racks of ribs do you think it took to get you to that spot?
Oh, just a few. Not too bad with the ribs because the ribs are a
Okay.
little bit easier to cook. More with the big meats like the brisket or a big roast beef or a pulled pork. It took me a long time to get that down really good, but I got it now.
Okay, that's good. So then you pull it off. Are you letting it rest a little bit before you slice into it?
I will. I'll put it on the cutting board. I got this big aluminum tray, and then I put a cutting board on top of that, and then I'll put a towel, just like a kitchen towel, and just lay it gently across the top. Let that
Okay.
sit for about 15 minutes or so,
So
and then I'll
15
cut them up.
minutes. And I'm assuming because you're not spritzing or opening it up or anything like that, you're not putting any sauce on it um,
I
while it's on the
don't.
grill.
Now, my new favorite sauce, and no lie here, is that pogey bait. That's it
Okay.
has the perfect amount of heat with sweet. It's the best stuff I've ever had, and on ribs, it's phenomenal. But
Yeah.
no, my son doesn't like barbecue sauce of any kind. I don't know why he's crazy, but he
Sure.
just doesn't. So I try to use. I'd use just a dry rub, and then after I cut them, and then I'll serve the sauce on the side or make it an
Yeah.
option. But
Yeah.
that's what I usually do too. And I like it better drizzled on top instead of cooked and try to make it into like a glaze on the ribs. I like the
Yeah.
wet, just pour it right on and eat those
Mhm.
things. Awesome. And even
Yeah.
my wife, she doesn't like to try new stuff either. And the barbecue sauce, she's really picky about it. So I took that. There's like that little flap on the inside of the ribs that I cut off. Now I'll pull
Mhm.
that after about 2 hours and cut that up into little squares and put it on a plate with a little bit of sauce. That's kind of a teaser for everybody before the ribs are done. And I
Yeah.
did that when I did them the day before yesterday. I just gave her the plate and it already had the pokey bait on there. And then she was
Mhm.
like, "What sauce is this?" I said, "It's the Burn Pit stuff that I've been trying to get you to try." And she's like, "It's perfect. It's got the perfect amount of heat with the perfect amount of sweet." I said, "That's what I'm trying to tell you."
Yeah.
So,
No, I appreciate that. And just
yeah.
so people listening, we didn't talk beforehand, so this is all
Yeah,
I'm
no,
learning.
I love
Appreciate
it.
yeah, appreciate you trying the products and stuff. And yeah, we got connected actually initially, right? Because I believe was it your son or your someone overseas? We sent some stuff over there. Was that you or somebody else? I'm thinking of.
No, that was somebody else. I
Okay,
did have another account called RecTech Smoker. I had about
okay,
4,600 followers on there, and it
yeah,
got hacked
okay.
and stolen.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, yep.
That's another thing that we don't talk about too much is like when we have these people that have like large accounts, they can get attacked and their accounts can get stolen. Do you ever find
Oh
out what
yeah.
happened to that?
No, they changed the name. I know that to something else.
Okay.
And it's still active.
It's
I've
still
written
active.
Instagram 100 times. They never get back
Yeah.
to you. They don't do anything.
Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that.
So
But yeah,
yeah,
I
it's
couldn't
okay.
remember how we first initially, but I know that I follow you now, and you've been doing a lot of good stuff out there. So this is just like a hobby for you. You do it, and then you go out there and you share. What
Yeah.
uh, what would you say has been like the one like either recipe or post that you've put out there that's got you the most attention?
Oh, I'd have to say the pulled pork because I got that down now where I can just and I do it with skin on. So a lot of people will pull the skin off and inject
Yeah.
it or whatnot. I will inject, but I'll do it up under that skin. So I'll take some butter and a little bit of olive oil and some of the pop smoke and then put it
Mhm.
in my syringe and put it up underneath that skin. And I'll throw
Okay.
that bad boy on there for about 18 hours. And then when it's done, I'll pull that skin off and I'll scrape off all the fat that's underneath there, all the little fat nodules that are underneath that skin, and put it in a pan and render it down into a liquid. And what doesn't render down turns into these crispy little piles of fat goodness. I mean, it's not good for you by any means, but it is absolutely awesome. I learned that from a comedian named Ralphie May. and he was probably about 450 pounds, I think, and he could cook.
I remember
you
Ralphie.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. So you like, because for the most part, people like when they go to the store and they buy like a pork butt or pork shoulder, it's got the skin off of it. It's all trimmed down already. So
Yep.
where do you get yours from then?
From the International Meat Market in Central Falls, Rhode Island. They have the best meat and the best prices. I don't go anywhere else.
Okay.
I love it.
Yeah. So you go to the meat market, you get it with the skin on. And it's, you inject it a little bit, you put a little bit underneath there. And then you let it go. You said like 18 hours, like at 225?
18 hours till about 205 degrees for an internal temp.
Okay.
And then pull that stuff off, scrape that fat, make those crispy nodules. And I'll take those little crispy pieces and put them off to the side and take that rendered fat and pour it right back into the pulled pork, the big pile of pulled pork. And then when I make the sandwiches, I take those little crispy pieces and use them as a sandwich topper. And they're absolutely phenomenal. I love them.
That's crazy, man. That's awesome. That sounds delicious.
It is. It's incredible.
But my arteries are starting to harden already from this.
Right. And even Ralphie May, he's passed now.
Yeah.
He's no longer with us.
Yeah, I know. And I'd imagine some of those recipes might be the reason why.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So when you pull off that skin and you start, taking the fat off of it and you put it in a pan, is the rest of the meat resting at that point while you're rendering down that fat?
It is. I'll put a towel over it for just 15, 20 minutes maybe while I'm rendering that stuff down. And that's where I got the most attention on that, is when I pull the towel off and I can actually reach into the meat and just pull the bone right out. I mean, it's so tender. Boom, both bones, the shoulder bone and that big bone with the two ends on it, they come right out clean. Unbelievable. And I love it. I got it down.
That's crazy. And then so you're shredding it up, you're putting it on a bun or what have you, you're drizzling some of that fat back in there. And then as you're making the sandwiches, you're putting some of those crispy nuggets or whatever you got there from the fat and the skin on top. So it's a nice little, you get the crunch from the skin or whatever's left over there. You get the moisture from the fat. You get the flavor from the pork. Oh man, that sounds amazing.
It is.
And then
of course a little bit of the pogie bait on top.
I was just going to ask, do you sauce it then?
I do sauce after, always. I'll always serve it on the side because, again, not everybody likes it, but I do. And it seems better. I like more when it's right from the bottle. I feel I taste it more than if I let it roast on the grill for a little bit. I like it better that way. So
yeah, that's true. So then, like, I would imagine it's so juicy anyways from all that stuff you're putting in there that you probably don't even need sauce for it. Now, I'm not familiar too much with Rhode Island barbecue, but is it similar to like East Coast where you're putting like slaw on like your pulled pork sandwiches too, like a homemade?
Yeah, I do that. My wife will make the homemade slaw, and then I'll just put a little bit, just a tiny bit on top, just to top it off, and awesome.
Yeah. Is that a vinegar based slaw, or is that kind of more Midwest? We like to do mayonnaise or whatever.
She's from Minnesota.
So, she is. Okay.
She does the mayonnaise. Yep. It's phenomenal.
Okay. That's good. That sounds delicious. I'm gonna have to try that. Right. I don't think I've done that with leaving the skin on like that and then rendering it down. So when you
have to.
Yeah, I gotta try that. So when you got it on the smoker, are you at 225 or are you
225?
225. Yep. And what type of? I imagine you're doing it on your Rectech. Are you using cherry pellets as well, or are you using something else?
I use the cherry pellets if that's what I have in there. I don't like to switch them up a lot because it's kind of a pain. But either the cherry or the apple are my two favorites.
Okay, cherry, apple. Yeah, those are great flavors for pork.
Yeah, they are.
And during this 18-hour cook, you said like this is something that you usually keep temp on. Are you using like a meter, like a wireless thermometer, or how are you keeping temp with it?
Yeah, I got a Wi-Fi Inkbird thermometer. So it has an app on my phone. Yeah, so I have the probes in there. It comes with 4 probes. I'll probe it in 3 different spots just to make sure I'm getting the sweet spot and take the best temperature that I can get. And then I can, from wherever I'm at, I can pull the phone out and open the app and go into it and see what temp it's at. It's perfect. Yeah. Love it.
Yeah. Great. Yeah. And are you basting, spritzing, doing anything with this one, or are you just letting it ride?
Doesn't need it. No, not with the Rectech. Okay. I don't know if it's the way it's designed or what the barrel, the way the fans are, it doesn't need it. It never
Okay.
does.
Nice. Nice.
Mm,
That's awesome. That
it
sounds
is.
great. It's been a while since I've done a pork shoulder. So I might have to find one here with the skin on,
You
and
got to
try
check
that.
out the
Yeah.
video. I got some
Yeah.
videos on there of me
Mhm.
doing it. So
Yeah. No, that's
phenomenal.
definitely, I'll put a link to that post too, so people can check it out.
Yeah,
Um,
awesome.
yeah, once we put this out there for the world, I'll make sure to put it in the notes so people can go out and find it. So we do have a lot of new barbecue or grillers that come and either listen to the podcast or follow us as well.
Sure.
So now that you've been doing it for 18 years or what have you, if you could go back in time to when you first started, what advice would you give yourself?
Uh, I don't really have anything. Like I would say, don't be afraid to try new things or to try stuff on your own without help. But that's who I am. I do that. That's how I became a mechanic. I've never had any formal school training, and I've been a mechanic for over 20 years and very successful. And just from trying new stuff and not be afraid to do it. Read. I'm an avid reader about everything. So when I find a subject that I like or something I want to cook, I'm going to read. And then
Yeah.
even when I come up with a recipe, I'll see something. Not a lot of people put all their recipes right on Instagram, but they'll have the video of showing what it is. So I know what it is. I'll write
Mhm.
that stuff down and then I'll look at 3 or 4 different recipes and then throw everything in the trash and go right to my book and write my own recipe. So it's mine.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, don't be afraid to look at other people's recipes and kind of build your own.
Yeah. Yeah,
Where
and,
I'm
and
at.
that's the fun part about this too, is like there's so many different variations and you can change it up just slightly to make it
Yep.
your own style. And that only comes with time. I mean, you've been doing it for a long time, so now you kind of know, what tastes well, what you like and what your family likes to eat. So
Right.
that's great advice. What piece of equipment would you say that you couldn't go without right now?
The internal thermometer to monitor
Okay.
the internal temp. Yeah, get
Yeah.
a good one. Spend the money on it.
Spend the money on a
Definitely.
good thermometer that helps keep temp.
Yep,
Okay.
yep. And I even keep a backup instant read. So it's the one with that folds out the probe so I
Oh
can
yeah.
probe it too to make sure that it's still within where I'm looking for. So
Yeah. Have multiple, like one,
backups.
one backup one, just old school that you
Yep,
can just poke in there if you have any questions about it. All right, that's good advice too.
yep.
And then what's something that maybe you haven't done yet that you've been exploring or looking at doing that you might be doing soon?
Desserts. That's
Yeah.
I haven't really done anything. I'd like to do some of them baked apples or something, where they're hollowed out and then they're put on the
Yeah.
smoker with like an apple crisp in the center of it or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've had my heart set on that for a long time, and I've looked at a few recipes. I just haven't done it yet, but I plan to. I'm going
Yeah.
to.
You know what?
Um,
I was talking with my wife the other day about that. I was like, we're watching all these baking shows now because the Halloween baking stuff is going on, and
yeah,
I'm like, you know what? I'm just so intrigued. Like, what can we do on the grill or the smoker? And there's a lot of options out there.
there
I
is.
just haven't put the time and effort to it just yet, but you might see some new stuff coming out, hopefully, where we're experimenting on some of that stuff, and I'll be looking forward to seeing what you put out there too,
Yeah,
because
awesome.
um, and then yeah, you mentioned like you like to read. So what have you found a book or like a barbecue book or something that you found that you kind of keep going back to that you really like?
I in the beginning I bought a bunch of different books. That was before the Kindle really came out though,
Yeah.
and now I'm on the Kindle and I belong to that Kindle Unlimited, so you can just type in barbecue and it'll give
Yeah.
you tons of different books from short story, like 10 pages to 200 pages. So anything like that, I can click on that. If I can get it for free, I'll download it and I'll spend the night reading that thing. And it just, even now, even after so many years of doing it and doing my own thing, I still like to read those books because you kind of forget a lot of stuff and it kind of keeps you grounded and let you know, don't forget the little details because everything matters.
Yeah.
So
No.
yeah, that's what I like to do. And not to mention the internet, just type in barbecue and start reading, different things that people do. And there's some, guys been doing it, 30 years and I read what they're doing and I'm going, what the heck is this guy talking about? I would never do it that way. There's a lot
Yeah.
of that, but everybody does it their own way and whatever's
Mhm.
successful, and works, I'm going to go with it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, there's a lot of information out there, and it's a continual process. Like, I don't think
It
anybody
is.
will ever learn every single thing about barbecue. So that's the good part about it too. We're
Right.
constantly constantly learning. Well, that's great advice. And, Mike, it was so much fun to have you on here, finally talk to you in person
Yeah,
here.
thank you. Yeah.
Since we've been kind of following each other on Instagram, I get to see a lot of what you're doing. And just thank you so much for being on here. I really I learned some stuff today, especially about that pork shoulder.
Awesome.
That's great tips and stuff. So,
Yeah.
Thanks, and appreciate having you on.
Anytime. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
All right.
Well, there you have it. Mike really goes deep into how he uses his rec tech to get the perfect St. Louis style ribs every time. I found it very interesting. He doesn't do much. Once he gets them on the smoker, it's a no touch process for his ribs. So I like that. And then also I learned a lot from his pork shoulder, keeping the skin on there. And then using some of that fat to render down and keeping it juicy and moist. So I might have to try that too. I hope you found some value in this podcast. Again, if you want to go follow Mike on Instagram, I put his profile in the show notes. Go on and give it a click, and go give Mike a follow over there because he puts out a lot of great content. But again, appreciate having you here, and hopefully you get a chance to get out and grill here, even though the weather's turning. We know a lot of you do it all year round. So appreciate you listening or watching wherever you're at, and hopefully you get a chance to get out and grill. Cheers.